What's up, everyone? Really excited today. I want to show you a video on how to build a set of sledge hockey sticks. We're hanging out in a locker room right now. I've brought all my tools. This is not the place I would typically build my sticks. I'd want to do them at home in my garage. And if I have access to things like a drill press for drilling holes is real easy. But we're going to work with what we got here just so I can show you what it's like to take a stick from scratch and piece it together. So one of the first things you want to do is, if you can go to the store and buy a shaft, that's killer, but they're very expensive. So one of the easiest things, since sledge hockey sticks have blade inserts, you just walk around the rink and find a broken shaft. So with me, I've got two here. This one, always make sure you're grabbing a senior shaft, not a junior shaft. And I'll explain why in a second. But just pick this one out of the dumpster. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure you grab a senior shaft and just take the tape off the end so you can start to cut it down. Take your tape tiger if you haven't already done so. Peel the tape off the end, clean the butt end of the stick. And pop out the insert as well. Okay, now that you got it out, it's always worth checking ahead of time if your blade's gonna fit. So take your new Warrior blade in this case, put it into the end. I can see that it is gonna fit. So I just gotta take some time to play around with that. What I'm gonna wanna do next is I'm gonna wanna cut it down for my shaft length. And I know from using my other sticks what length I already need. To make it simpler, just take a tape measure and look at, okay, I need about 16 inches to where the blade's going to insert. So 16 times 2 is 32. So just to make my life easier and simpler, first I'm going to just take my tape measure, about 32 inches there. So I'm going to go roughly to about 33, 34. I'm going to take my hacksaw and just cut the end of the blade off, and then I can start working with the rest of the shaft. There we go. Now I have my shaft, my senior shaft, cut down into one piece that I can start to use now for my sledge sticks. So this is a clean finished end. I'm going to work this way first. I'll measure my 16 inches. I'm going to measure 16 inches on all sides of the shaft. All right, so I just took my Sharpie. In this case, black Sharpie on a black stick's hard to see, but just make a line that you can see. Connect it all the way around. Try and keep it as consistent as possible. Okay. And take your hacksaw again. What I didn't point out earlier is that if you buy a blade that is, I think, 24 TPI, which is teeth per inch, is a finer grade or blade with a number of teeth in there versus one that's 18. And cutting sticks is not so bad with a finer blade, but if you have a coarser blade, especially when cutting the steel tubes, if you're building your sled, the 18 will work a lot better. You should always be able to find a garbage can. So use that as your workbench since we don't have anything else. This is ridiculous. Make sure that you're cutting the line straight. That begins with making sure your line is drawn straight around the shaft. And then what you want to do is begin There we go. Just begin on the first side and then rotate it. Start on the second side, rotate it again, and start to basically etch a groove into the shaft before you start cutting all the way through. Okay. There we go. I have a consistent straight line all the way around my shaft, so I'm not ending up with a crooked cut. I got a straight cut on this end. This is the end that was fresh from the stick when it was original. And then now what I'm going to want to do is take my other cut and measure off your fresh to the other end you want to start with and cut there as well. Now I've got 2 even shafts to work with. After you have your shafts cut down, you could do one of 2 things. You could throw in the blade first, or what we're going to do is we're going to work with inserting one of the wood butt ends. What this does is it provides some stability and strength in the bottom of your shaft where your picks go. If you start drilling your holes through and installing your picks without something like this to kind of fill the end of the shaft, what's going to end up happening is that over time, especially as it gets wet and gets weaker, it's going to keep collapsing inward and it's going to make it more susceptible to breaking and your stick's just not as strong. So you can just go buy these for $5 at any kind of hockey store. We're going to heat one up first and then put it into the end and start drilling our holes for our picks. Okay, so the easiest thing to do is just grab a heat gun. You can pick these up at a store like Canadian Tire, Home Depot. You can use a torch as well. Torches are really cool. They're fun to use some flames, but this will get a job done just as well. You can crank it up. Just take some time. Usually these already come with glue put on the end of them. You don't necessarily need to, but I just want to heat up the end of the shaft a little bit just for the glue to kind of melt and sink in there better. There we go. All right. And insert your wood butt end. Now, you also notice I don't need to push this all the way in because my picks are going to stop approximately there. I don't need that much wood to come this far up, which you'll actually notice a difference in having that in there, that extra little bit. So I'm just going to stop about halfway or 2/3 of the way, and then we'll start working with it from here. So next thing is just wait for the glue to dry a little bit, get your fingers on it, you can peel it off. Right? Clean up the area. Now what you're going to want to do is just take your hacksaw again, and we're going to cut off the wood butt end. Since you've already got a line now with the bottom of the stick, you don't need a marker. Okay. There you go, clean and fresh now. And the next thing I would want to do is start to drill the pick holes. Now, before you start lining up your picks, you want to start to just think about which kind am I installing and how am I going to line those up. So to give you an example, this is the older style of pick that was available. There's 3 points on each pick, and it's evolved a bit where the holes for drilling used to be staggered. Now they're centered, which has helped prevent some of the end of the sticks from breaking or splitting, especially the wood versus the composite. Now the next style that came out has 4 picks on them. And what you'll notice different about these two, not only between 3 and 4, but the style that have 3, you can't reverse the picks where the holes are at the end of the stick, because that means that the pick will just sit incorrectly on your stick. However, with the 4, I don't have the 3 with me right now, but like if you take the 4, you can see that they're both built like the left, like this side is very vertical, where the other side is coming down at an angle. So if you put them together, they're going to sit nicely. But you can also take one, reverse it, line the pick holes back up, and the bottom of the picks still line up. But for example, like I'm just going to take off my other ones here so you can see the difference. But in this case here, when you look at picks that have 3 points on the bottom, if I were to take them apart and reverse them and then line up those pick holes, I don't know if you, can you see zoomed in on the bottom, but the bottom of the picks do not line up. So there's a forward, or there's like a front and a back, or a forward and a backwards to these style, but the other style, you don't have to worry about it. You can reverse them if you want to. Working with the 4-point picks, I don't have to think so much about how I'm picking. If I'm using the 3-point, I want to angle my picks differently so that I'm getting the right angle picking into the ice, whereas these, it'll just naturally happen a lot easier. But the main thing is you just want to line them up evenly. You can have them on a bit of an angle, and give you an example. In order to have my picks on a bit of an angle from the shaft, like the shaft being vertical, the picks are kind of leaning this way. So that would mean that I'm picking into the ice on a 45 in that direction. One way that I can use to judge this is I'll take that vertical side or any side of the pick and line it up parallel with the shaft. But notice how the top of the pick is parallel with the shaft here. And then when I look at the bottom, I think it's 4 or 5 millimeters is the rule of how far your picks can extend from the end of the shaft. And so when you look at the bottom here, at any point to the longest point, I'm not beyond 4 or 5 millimeters. So I got my picks in a good position. They're both even, and my holes are within the center of the shaft. And so now what I'm going to want to do, because I don't have the drill press, and just to make things easier, so you're going to want to take a pair of vice grips. So open these up. Just kind of want to loosen them all the way. And then, there we go. Good tension. Now I've got both sides tight in position to drill. And before you begin, just make sure that, just kind of eye it up. See that both of them are even. They got the same height. And the vice grips are tight enough that when you start drilling, that they're not going to move. So I'm just going to double check my vice grips here real quickly. When you do that, I don't want my picks to move too much. So I'll just tighten them about another 1/4 of a turn. There we go. So now I definitely know that my vice grips are tight enough to drill through the stick. Okay, so take what you got here, grab your drill. You're going to want a 3/16 drill bit. And similar to how we started cutting on one side and then move to the other side, to help your pick holes line up, do one side, both holes only, and then reverse and do the other side, both holes. So get a good, decent position. Try and just hold the vice grips so that they don't end up falling. And if you have a drill with a high and a low speed, you're going to want to put it on a high speed. And just begin. There we go. And so as soon as I notice that it starts to grab the wood, I kind of back off because it's a little bit harder to get through the shaft at first. And I don't want to go all the way through just yet. So I got the first hole started. And as I'm drilling too, I'm not necessarily trying to put pressure here with my hand on the drill, but more on the top down. This is just kind of to steady it, to make sure that it's straight. This is where all the pressure is coming from. Okay, got halfway through. Just reverse it. Okay, now I got through the wood on this side, so I'm just going to kind of go down and wait for it to feel and grab. It should grab the hole I started on the other side and just kind of like naturally pull its way through so that I don't have to worry about my holes being crossed and that they do line up straight. There we go, got a straight hole. There you go, hole number 2. Okay, when you're done that, if it makes it easier, you could even just leave the vice grips on the way they are. Grab your nuts and your bolts and start to just thread them through. In your Allen key here, you will be using a 1/8 Allen key. Okay, got the first one. Something worth considering too, if you want, I've at times before, worked the hole a little bit more with the drill bit to make it a little wider, which means that the bolts or screws here will just go through real easy versus having to thread them because you're essentially kind of threading through the wood. That is really cool. Sometimes it'll help speeding up changing a set of picks during a game if you end up breaking them and you have them as spares on the bench. In the case of today, we're just going to work with what we got here. Okay, release the vice grips. Now you're going to want to thread this on the other side. Okay, now just take, you got a 3/8 wrench and you got your 1/8 Allen key. There we go. Okay, now when you're tightening it, you definitely want to put some effort into getting this snug, but remember that you don't have to crank on it. It's better to just kind of make them snug and then check them periodically throughout the season and your games and everything, because they do come loose. What'll happen is that the wood will start to soak up the snow on the ice, and as it does that, it becomes softer, which means your picks can become loose. And as you squeeze it more, you'll retighten it, and the wood becomes softer again, shrinking a little bit more, and you tighten it until it eventually stops, or it might have to end up replacing it. But that's basically the process you go through to get your picks put together on the end. Now we're going to insert the blade. Next up, inserting the blade into the end of the shaft. Really useful to have is a hot glue gun and a couple glue sticks on hand. Now, two things. One is that we haven't taken the time to heat up the glue gun first, and two, especially if you're in a rush, it's kind of messy, but just take the glue stick and we'll heat it up with the heat gun to actually get some glue on the end of the blade rather than waiting for this whole process. So what you're going to want to do is take your heat gun and kind of set it up. Here, I'll pinch, just lay the blade on your lap, take the heat gun, just wait for the glue to start to soften. I'm going to want to rotate it. Try this way here. Okay. Okay, you see I use a quarter or a third of the glue stick, no big deal. That sounded cool for some reason. No big deal. All right. And now the next thing I want to do is think about where you lined up your picks. You don't want to put the blade on backwards based on how you're going to pick. So there's my flat side. This is how I'll be picking into the ice, which means that I'm going to want to have my blade facing this way. You might want to get a shot of this. Or can you see it? Okay. So you want to have the blade facing this way versus if I accidentally installed it here, that would mean my picks were upside down and I'd have to take it out and do it again. So make sure I got my picks the right way, and then my shaft is ready to insert. And now I just got to take the time and play around with this to make sure that it slides in. Fuck me. You can spend some time heating up the end of the shaft, but don't heat it up too much. The more you heat it up, the more you're going to weaken it. God damn. There we go. Okay. Did I keep applying pressure to insert the blade the rest of the way into the shaft? There we go. All right, that was a huge sigh of relief, guys. Building a set of sticks can be a little bit challenging sometimes, but this is what the finished product looks like. Always make sure that you have the blade as far into the shaft as possible just by looking at whether there's a gap or not there. Let that glue dry, and then when it's dry, just peel it off. Right? Now it's all clean. You got a fresh seam going on through there. And just repeat the same process for your other blade and your other shaft. So that's how you make a new twig for Sledge. If you have any other ideas on tips and things that you'd like for me to either build, create, or do videos, please leave them in the comments below. Please share. I'd love to get the word about sledge hockey out there, and see you on the ice.